Hi! So this is my sister. She has half of my genes. And we're gonna do a video about how being a sibling with somebody who has an eating disorder, because an eating disorder is very
family.
Yeah.
It involves everybody.
It involves everybody, and people blame themselves when they don't need to be blamed, and they don't know what the frick to do. So we're going to talk a little bit about her experience and her words of wisdom. And
yeah.
She's really...
I feel like I'm going to be a mix on camera of like your 80-year-old grandparents who are trying to FaceTime you and are giving you like an up-the-nose shot, and like Michael Scott. I'm thinking that'll be right in the middle of those things.
It's okay. We're gonna
not in my comfort zone, but I'm doing it. So
because
hi,
she
guys.
loves me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes.
So
not all the time.
So Katie, this is Katie. Did I say it was Katie?
I don't know.
Catherine.
No, we're not going Catherine. Okay, we might
When
need
did
to
you
tell
realize
people.
that there was something wrong with me?
Well, it was a early morning when you were born. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, come on. You know
okay.
what else, you
That's really lame. Okay, so I noticed that there was an issue when you started making weird health foods. Like, that was when I guess red flags were going up, but I didn't really know what it was. So I don't know if you guys know this. I've watched a lot of your videos, but I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen all of them. So, because I'm a terrible support. But it's also weird watching your sibling talk about things that you know, I know all of it, and it's just weird to, I don't know. Okay, anyway, this is like a whole nother, I go on a lot of tangents.
But let's not go on a tangent about your tangents. Let's just stick to...
That's how I talk. What were we saying?
When you said that I was making a lot of health
foods.
foods.
You were making a lot of health foods. Like, you would make, like, black bean brownies, and not hating on black bean brownies, although they are gross. But, like, garbanzo bean
You
chocolate
liked
chips.
that.
Yeah, but it's not a chocolate chip cookie.
Okay.
It was just, like, things where you were, like, really concerned about calories and things, and that was just kind of a red flag. But that was my freshman year of college.
Yeah, and that was a year where I was kind of disguising it because we both were going on a health journey, and then it kind of showed the differences between a healthy brain and an unhealthy brain, because when she was able to work with the healthy in a productive way, but me, I just went on that.
There's like kind of a backstory I feel like they need. So freshman year of college, as many people do, I gained the freshman 15 and I wasn't fitting in any of my clothes. And so that summer after freshman year, I just kind of went on a diet, and I was doing it in, I was just exercising more and cutting out desserts and snacks and stuff, and it wasn't anything severe, but I was just trying to just fit back in my clothes. I didn't want to have like an extreme weight loss. It was just fitting back in my clothes. And
I did it because I was wanting to run faster, and then I went off the... But that's something else.
But so, like, I was noticing that she was doing it with me, and watching your freshman year in high school, that's a weird way to say that, watching someone who's a freshman in high school go on a diet is a little bit weird, because that wasn't something that I was thinking about my freshman year.
Yeah.
So, it was just a little concerning, and I didn't feel like there was a need for her to lose weight, because there wasn't. I mean, she was beautiful, so...
Okay, watching the calories, but then it kind of went off the deep end, and you didn't really know what to do, because it went from going into healthy food into like
an extreme.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about this before the video, but you said it made you question you. What did you mean by that?
I felt like because I went on the diet, I thought, well, is she going too extreme because I went on this diet? And, I mean, my diet lasted a summer, but I thought, well, maybe she's just modeling me, and I was concerned that I had modeled some behaviors that were going to turn into something really unhealthy, and I felt responsible for it because of that in a little way. And then so it was kind of like this strange, part of me thought, okay, this isn't my fault, and then part of me thought, this could be my fault. And it was just like there was like this part of me that thought, which side is logical and which side isn't. And it was just this back and forth where I thought, well, is it logical that I modeled it and she's now kind of going off the deep end, or is it logical that maybe, I don't know. I think I still don't know how much I influenced it, I guess.
And that's pretty common. Like we were saying, eating disorders are very much a family thing. So my mom had issues with blaming herself, and Katie had problems.
Because when you hear anorexia, I was a psychology and exercise science major in undergrad, and when we learned about anorexia, it was always like, they always talked about it in conjunction with mommy issues.
Yeah.
And it's not that, now we know more about it, and it's not, I'm sure,
and I've heard
sometimes that is a factor, but you can't hear anorexia and then think, oh, mommy issues, because it's so many times it's not that.
You cannot, if you have mommy issues, it does not automatically lead to eating disorders. What we have talked about is you need a certain brain to be able to do this.
And more than a mommy can.
More than
I had a professor in school, and I think you actually have this professor now. But anyway, she would always say that nature loads the gun and the environment triggers it and pulls the trigger. And so, if you have that loaded gun, if you were born with that brain that has a loaded gun for anorexia, so many things in your environment can trigger it.
But it's not
necessarily that.
And she had a lot of psychology classes, so she got some of the old information.
I thought you were gonna say you have a lot of psychology crap.
So she had a lot of classes with regarding eating disorders, and I've had those
in
too.
Exercise science.
Yeah, and some of that information is outdated, I believe, and that was I didn't think that was the best. It
influenced a lot of how I approached her.
But okay. How did you cope with blaming yourself? You had that war in your head, and what would you tell somebody who's blaming themselves for?
What I did isn't what I would tell someone to do.
Okay.
What I did was I avoided thinking about it because it was upsetting. So then I just try to distract myself, and not with anything bad, just with just intentionally not thinking about it. Even if it was just watching a video or hanging out with friends, and if it came into my mind, I would just go, no, don't. And I don't know what was the right thing to do, because I was off at school, and I just felt like I was in this horrible position because there wasn't much I could do. And when I did feel like I was, when I came up with an idea with how I could help her, it never worked.
What did you try?
Telling you that you could die, that was a go-to. Which probably, hindsight, wasn't the best. But it was my biggest fear, So I thought that if I shared my biggest fear with you, that it would change you.
And it really hurt our relationship because she would tell me those things, and I would be in complete denial about having anorexia. So when she told me those things, it was like an eye roll,
which then I felt disregarded. But what I guess I didn't realize is, and a lot of what I did was I thought if she loved me, she could change. If I say the right thing to her and she actually loves me, it was almost like it wasn't consciously a test of her, but it was a little bit of a test, in my head I was thinking, if I tell her this and she doesn't listen, then she doesn't love me as much as she loves herself, or something, which isn't true. The way that I kind of justified it in my head now is that the part of her brain that scared her about eating was louder than the part of her brain that loved me. It's kind of like if you were drowning and you know, if you were holding onto her life preserver and you're someone on the boat and you see that if in order for them to get on the boat, they have to let go of the right life preserver and grab a rope that doesn't float. And like for someone who's drowning, maybe it would be really, and maybe this is a terrible analogy and you can cut it out, but for someone who is drowning, holding on to that life preserver makes sense. And, you know, that fight or flight survival is, you know, you in the boat can go, okay, if they just grab the rope, I can pull them in and it'll be hard for a second and they'll struggle for a bit, but soon they'll be in the boat and they'll be alive, whereas they're just holding on to their little life preserver. And you can see that the life preserver isn't enough and it's not going to keep them sustained, but, and you just want them on that boat, but they can't let go because their brain is saying, if I let go, I'm going to die.
Yeah, I think that was an excellent analogy. If you were to go, knowing what you know now, knowing that analogy that you have in your head, what advice would you give you when you were blaming yourself, when you were having those tests in your mind about the love? How would you comfort yourself?
I guess the main thing is understanding what they're going through more. And sometimes I felt like when I was going through it that empathizing with her position was a hard thing to do. I was so worried about the physical reality that she was in danger, that I might lose her, that it was really hard for me to empathize with her emotions. It's because the solution to me was so simple. It was just, you know, just eat. I mean, and I know that that's probably triggering for some people to hear me just say that because it's not that simple at all, and I know that, but it was, and I knew that then, but I didn't understand it to the extent that I know it now. So I guess just understanding that it's not that they don't love you. It's not that their physical appearance is so much more important to them than you. It's that they want to show you love and they want to live. But for them, it's survival. And when you're in that survival mode, the emotion part of you is not functioning like it should be, or it normally would. And it's just this understanding that might have made it easier for me. But I think at that point I was still, there's so much to process as a sibling of someone with anorexia. So yeah, I don't know, and I don't feel like there's this like great piece of advice that I could have given myself. Even if I had the perfect thing to say today to tell someone whose sibling is going through that, I don't know that it would make it that much easier for them. It's just a hard thing to go through. Yeah. And just, I guess your videos might help just to know what the brain, their, you know, sibling or daughter or, you know, loved one or friend or whatever, whoever is in their life is going through this. Maybe it's a good idea to see these videos and figure out what's going on in the brain so that you can empathize with it better and not say stupid things. Like sometimes I said stupid things, just, you know, like just eat, or come on, you can just have one chocolate chip, or what, it's my birthday, why can't you have a piece of cake? Mm-hmm. It was just really hard, and I didn't understand it. And there's a part of me that never will. Yeah. Because you can't. Like, I can't totally understand other mental disorders. Mm-hmm. You just can't unless you've experienced it. Like, you just can't. You can watch and you can do everything in your power to try to understand what they're going through, but unless you've lived it, you can't understand it. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean you can't be there, and it doesn't mean you can't help, and it doesn't mean you can't offer support. It just means that, you know, you don't understand the brain and all the emotions that are going through them. Yeah. But you can make a great effort to understand it. That's my answer. Final answer. Final answer, locking it in. Yep. It's going to be hard no matter what, and no matter what Katie says, it's going to still be hard for the sibling. No matter what I say, it's still going to be hard for the person struggling. It's more of a matter of
there's information that can help. There's information that can take the guilt off the sibling, and there's information that can make you like, what the frick is wrong with me? Why can't I eat a baby carrot at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? Like, there's stuff to explain it.
It helps so much when you're going through something to have a sense of universality and knowing that you're not alone, and knowing that other people have felt the same emotions that you have, and that, you know, just that you're not the only one who's felt this way. If you're feeling, you know, sad or distraught or guilty or happy or anything, you're not the only. Everyone who's experienced it has probably gone through something like the emotion that you're feeling.
Okay, well, this is getting to be a very long video. Thank you for joining us. Yes. How did it feel? You weren't Michael Scott.
Thanks.
You weren't 80.
I really try to live like an 80-year-old in a lot of ways. My crocheting proves that. No.
That's gonna stay.
No. I feel a little weird. It felt a little bit like a real conversation, but then also watching yourself talk is an odd experience.
Well, with the learning, welcome to this
YouTube life.
YouTube.
Get YouTube down here to film this.
I'm so big on YouTube.
Yeah, you're a huge hit. You're the star of them all.
Right. So, yeah. Let me know how you're doing. And I'll talk to you later. Toodles. What do you have to say to them?
Do I say toodles too?
No, you say what you want to say. You can say up-a-dubby. You want to speak? Speak up-a-dubby.
No, I don't want to.
Okay. What's your sign off?
Bye!